Alright, so I finally got my hands on the Tenora Prime. Now, I've been trying to get Pandora Prime before I got Tenora Prime, but not been getting lucky with the relics and everything like that, so I just was like, fuck it, let's build the Tenora Prime and see what this is all about. And I gotta say, I'm actually kind of surprised by this weapon because I thought it was not gonna be like that great just because I didn't really look into the stats or anything like that, but it actually is not only really good, but I would say this is probably the replacement basically for Soma Prime. Like Soma Prime is basically not worth even getting at this point because Tenor Prime has more status, the same amount of crit, I think a bit more crit damage, or maybe Soma Prime has a bit more crit damage. I don't think so. And also, I think this has more damage, a little bit less fire rate, but 200 rounds, the same deal. So yeah, I would say this is pretty much a Soma Prime replacement. Now the build I ended up going for is the hybrid crit setup, which I've been running on a bunch of like ARs and shit like that, and the it basically works. This is a pretty decent setup. Basically, you have point strike, vital sense for crit damage and crit chance. Now I always use amalgam serration. I do want to say, if you use normal serration, I think you can save a bit more mod points, or maybe save like a Forma or two here in usually my builds. But I just like using amalgam serration for the sprint speed. Then I have heavy caliber, of course, because that's just more damage. You got split chamber, that's multi-shot, and then you have high voltage and malignant force. Now, maybe you can get away, I think, with a 90% elemental in this. I don't really know. I just went for the 60% elemental and 60% status because I just wanted a bit more status on this weapon because it is an AR, and it turned out pretty well. I would say this is a pretty decent build. Also, another quick little thing, you can change Argon scope with Vigilant Armaments. I've tested it out and they both do the same amount of damage. So, I just use Argon scope so that I don't really have to put another Forma in there. If I had put Vigilant Armaments in here, I probably had to go like another Forma. So that's why we have Argon scope there. Now the damage is pretty decent. It's not going to be amazing. It is an assault rifle, right? And assault rifles in Warframe are usually, you know, kind of underwhelming because of the all the other different types of weapons that you have in the game that are just a lot better at just dealing with enemies or a group of enemies or stuff like that. It's not going to be amazing, blowing your mind, but it's definitely a decent, I would say, competitor. It's definitely one of the best assault rifles in the game, that's for sure. So if you want a assault rifle that's like solid, you can take it basically mostly everywhere. This is a pretty decent weapon. I was using it with 135s heavy gunners. The reason I usually max them out just to kind of show you in like a worst case scenario or something like that. So and one of the things definitely I wouldn't say in like higher levels, it does run out of ammo a bit quickly, which is, I get it, it's an assault rifle, but even with 1,000 rounds in reserve and 200 in the mag, you can run out of ammo. So maybe run a carrier, or maybe run goddamn it, what's the cougar name that can get you dig up a bunch of stuff. So maybe run carrier, maybe run like maybe you can put like a an ammo mutation mod here. It just really depends on how you want to use this weapon, honestly. So in Steel Path, it does decent, not bad. Of course, it's gonna be all right. Lower level, the lower like tier enemies are gonna be good. And another thing I totally almost forgot about the weapon, it also has a secondary fire, which is a charge attack. Now, the charge attack, I think it has pretty decent stats and everything like that. But honestly, most of the time you're probably not even gonna end up using it just because it's like one of those hold things where you gotta press it and it just it holds it in and then it just fires it. Like you press the button, there's a little timer, it goes and then it fires it. So most people are probably not even gonna use that charge attack at all. It is decent. I think it's like, it's like an assault rifle version for like a secondary attack that's like very good on other weapons and shit. It's all right. It's not that great. And another thing I do want to say, the zoom level on this thing is horrendous. I mean, as you can see on all the clips, I'm not zooming in a lot just because the zoom is like it's like a 5 times zoom or something fucking crazy. I don't know why. The zoom sucks, which is a very bad thing, especially for an assault rifle, which you would want to aim down sights with it, but you can't because the zoom is fucking horrendous. So that's another thing that's kind of bugging me out about it. And another thing, of course, if you do take it in steel pack, you will run out of ammo, so you will have to rely on a secondary or your melee to complete the mission or anything like that. And yeah, that's basically Tenora Prime. You know, it's an okay weapon. It's not bad. I mean, it's a prime weapon, so of course it has to be good, unless, or why would they even prime this shit? But yeah, that's Tenora Prime. Honestly, I'm just waiting for. They did announce that they were gonna be buffing like weapons, so all primary weapons and secondary weapons are gonna get a buff. So this should be interesting to see. Maybe Tenora Prime and all these assault rifles are gonna be better now because of how OP like melee is in Warframe. Maybe they'll tone melee down a little bit, but they'll buff up the guns to a point where they actually can compete with melee. So you know what? That's one of the reasons I got this gun, just to kind of have it in my arsenal, just to kind of test it out whenever that update drops. But yeah, that's basically Tenora Prime. I'm thinking if I'm not missing that. Yeah, I didn't miss anything. Yeah, that's Tenora Prime. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.